Hi, Verbling. My name's Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're talking about parts of speech. Fernando, welcome to class.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Good. How are you, Fernando?
Thank you.
It's been
Fine,
a
thank you. Fine.
long time since I've seen you. How are you? Doing well?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you back. And Maria, are you there?
Yes, hello teacher. How are you?
Good. I'm doing really well. How are you, Maria?
Good, really good. Thanks.
Awesome. So today we're talking about parts of speech, and the notes are on the class page. When you entered class, there is a link on the bottom, but if you don't have them up, I will screen share them for you now. Oops. As long as I get myself organized, then I'll screen share them for you. Uh-oh. All right, so while I'm getting those notes up, let's talk about the parts of speech. Fernando, can you think of a couple types, categories of the parts of speech? Can't think of anything, Fernando? Can you hear me, Fernando? Maria, how about you? Can you think of a couple types of parts of speech?
I don't know, but I think that the introduction is the first part of the speech.
Did you say introduction?
Yeah. I don't know if this is a word.
Kind of. So I think I see where you're going, and that's an important part of writing. But today we're talking about something a little more specific, which is kind of like all the pieces of how we form a sentence. So one example of a part of speech is nouns. Nouns are people, places, and things. So that's one example. Maria, can you think of some others?
Yes, I know. The noun, the verb, the article, are adverbs, adjective.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. You know a lot then.
Yeah, and the sentence has I'm not sure, but subject and object. Yes.
Yeah, that's actually interesting, and we're going to go over that as well. Subjects and objects are part of sentences, and they relate to parts of speech in a different kind of way. So a subject could potentially be a noun, but we don't always use a noun as a subject, and the same for objects. So let's see who else we have in class. Nassim, welcome to class.
Hi, teacher.
Hi. We're talking about parts of speech today, and Maria already gave us a few kinds of parts of speech. We have articles and adjectives, nouns, and verbs. I think those were all the ones she said. Can you think of any others, Nassim?
No.
All right. We're going to learn about a few types today. Wilmer, welcome to class.
Thanks, teacher. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Where are you from, Wilmer?
I'm from Bogota, Colombia.
Excellent. Good to have you with us. Can you think of any other parts of speech that we haven't mentioned yet?
No, teacher.
Okay. So right now we have a list: articles, adjectives, nouns, verbs. If anyone has another suggestion, you can shout it out. Otherwise, I'll give you a few other types and categories. Does anyone know more than that? Mayor, welcome to class.
Thank you.
How are you doing today, Mayor?
Fine, thank you. I am resting in my home.
Great. So, Minor, do you know any other categories of parts of speech? We already mentioned articles, adjectives, nouns, and verbs. Can you think of any others?
It could be adverb.
Yeah, adverbs. Excellent. Anything else?
Others.
Yeah, prepositions. Anything else?
Contractions.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Contractions.
Sure. We'll put contractions. Usually that's made up of a couple of verbs or something. Okay. All right. So we have a pretty good list going. I'm going to add a couple others to our list. That would be interjections and conjunctions. I'm going to add those. And then I'm going to put this list in the chat boxes for you guys so you can see these. These are what we're going to be working with mainly today. And we didn't go over all of them, but we will hopefully get to all of them before the end of class. So let's come up with some examples. Let's come up with examples of conjunctions. That was one that nobody could remember. Fernando, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Awesome. Can you give me a couple examples of conjunctions?
And. Of.
Not quite. Of is actually a preposition.
And is a conjunction.
All right. Maria, can you give us another conjunction?
Then, because,
Did you say because?
yeah, and then,
All right. Sometimes those function as conjunctions. I'm going to put because down on our list.
and that,
That?
yeah.
Not quite. So the words that and then function more like adverbs. So it might be something more like an adverb of time. Then we went to the store, and that would tell us when it happened. But usually a conjunction adds two parts of a sentence that are very similar. So let's see if we can get a couple more examples. Mayor, can you give us more conjunction examples?
No, I don't have more examples.
Nassim, how about you?
Sorry, I don't know. This is the first time for
All
me.
right. Wilmer, any ideas?
Maybe and.
And is a good
But,
one. Yes, there we go.
And, or I don't have a clear the topic, but the conjunctions are expression for connect to sentence.
Yeah, sometimes we connect two sentences. Otherwise, we might connect two nouns. We might connect two verbs. I love to swim and run. So those would be connecting two verbs. They can connect two like parts.
Okay. Oh, maybe are the same with the linking words.
Yeah, exactly. They're similar to linking words. So we have tons of examples that are possible. I'm going to put a few in the chat boxes for you guys. Some of them you came up with, and a couple I'm just going to add. So the ones that I added, there we go. The ones that I added are or and however. So those are some different conjunctions we can use. And Priscilla, welcome to class. Priscilla, I can't hear you. Are you there? If you're having any trouble with your audio, Priscilla, just let me know in the chat box. In the meantime, let's come up with some examples of prepositions. And I'll go the opposite order. So Wilmer, you're first. What are some preposition examples?
Excuse me, teacher. Could you repeat, please?
Examples of prepositions. Another part of speech.
Preposition. And
is not actually a preposition. It's a conjunction.
Sorry.
Sometimes words have multiple possibilities, like the word for could sometimes be a conjunction, and sometimes it's a preposition. But and is just a conjunction.
Okay. At.
Yeah, at is a great example.
At, in, on.
Excellent. Yeah, exactly.
Of place. Yep. Okay.
And Nassim, can you give us a few more prepositions?
After.
That, yeah, sure. After sometimes is a preposition. What else?
Only, he already told you most of them.
Oh, not quite. We've got plenty more to go. Mayor, can you give us any more?
Prepositions. It could be at,
Uh-huh.
mm, down,
Sometimes, yeah. Down can be used as a preposition.
and that's it.
All right. Maria, more prepositions. Can you think of any others?
On, in,
Uh-huh.
up,
Uh-huh.
off, for,
Uh-huh.
from, by.
Excellent.
Like.
Could be sometimes.
With,
Mm-hmm.
until.
Mm-hmm. You're on a roll, Maria. Thanks a lot.
No more. No more.
Fernando, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
All right. Can you think of any other prepositions for our list?
Before,
Okay.
after,
Mm-hmm.
since.
Okay, that's more like a adverb, actually, but you're close. We have a couple. So I'll put a list. Mostly before and after are usually considered adverbs. So we can leave those on our list. Sometimes they function as prepositions, but mostly prepositions talk about place, not time. Usually if it's talking about time, we consider it an adverb. So I'm going to put that list in the chat box for us. And just so you guys know, sometimes it's hard to think of all these prepositions, but there's hundreds of them. There are tons of prepositions. So I have classes that are just on prepositions if you guys want to join because they're complex. But that's good for now since we're not focusing on just that today. Let's talk now about adverbs. So now we're going to get some examples of adverbs, and I'm going to start in the middle with Mayor. Can you give me one adverb example?
It could be after, before,
Uh-huh.
suddenly.
As in from the south? Southernly?
Suddenly is an adverb.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Nassim, give us a couple more adverbs.
Maybe quickly, slowly.
Uh-huh. Great. Wilmer?
Yep. Never, often,
Mm-hmm.
certainly, maybe.
Uh-huh.
There, here, above, maybe can be
Above is actually a preposition.
a preposition.
Mm-hmm.
Then no more, teacher.
All right. Thank you very much. Fernando, give us a few more adverbs.
Could be there,
There.
now,
Okay.
late, soon,
Mm-hmm.
better,
Did you say better?
better,
Okay.
well, better.
Yeah. All right. Thanks very much, Fernando. And Maria, give us a few more. Are you there, Maria?
Yes, I'm sorry. And gentle, friendly, then, quiet,
Okay, quietly.
quietly.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, I'll put that list in the chat box as well. Very good job, guys. We got a pretty good
Yeah.
list for each of those. Do you guys have
Teacher,
any? Yeah, question?
there are a lot of adverbs that end with the syllable li.
Yeah, exactly. I would say probably 90% of adverbs do end in the ly, the li sound. So that makes it easy to identify them in a sentence for the most part. But of course, there are also some that don't, like always, never, often. So not all of them do, but most of them do. Any other questions before we move on? Awesome. So,
Something about the prepositions is difficult to me because in Spanish there are just 17 prepositions, but in English there are a lot of.
yeah. Wow, so Spanish only uses 17?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we have tons. I mean, I would say commonly used prepositions, there's probably maybe 40 or 50. And there's more than that. There's hundreds of prepositions, but a lot of them are not very common or used only in certain circumstances. So you really don't have to worry about all of the prepositions in English, but maybe a good 30 or 40 is a pretty necessary amount of prepositions to be able to use, which is pretty complex. That's a lot of words. Okay, so on the next exercise, we have just some simple layouts of the sentence structure of English. So the simplest sentence is subject plus verb. If you want to make it a little more complex, you can add an object. So that would go subject, verb, object. And then, of course, you can make these simple sentences more complex by adding subjects or objects. So we've got subject, subject, verb, object, subject, verb, verb, subject, verb, object, object. I'm going to ask you each to come up with an example of each of these sentences. So what you guys have to do is decide what word is appropriate to use as a subject, or as a verb, or as an object. All right. You guys can put them in the chat box when you're ready, and just make some simple sentences. Brainstorm a little bit about what is an object and how it's different than a subject. And I'll give you a little hint that earlier when we were talking about parts of speech, one kind of part of speech we did not use is pronouns. So what are pronouns? Can anyone help me explain what pronouns are?
I, you, he,
Uh-huh.
he, they,
Uh-huh.
we.
Excellent.
This is the person.
Yeah, those are the subject pronouns, right?
Yeah, yes, the object pronouns.
So you gave us all the subject pronouns, but what are the object pronouns? How about Fernando? Can you provide some of the object pronouns?
Object pronouns?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
All right. Wilmer, how about you? Can you think of some object pronouns? No ideas, Wilmer?
Yeah. Excuse me, I have a switch off my microphone.
Ah.
The object pronoun, I think that is me, you, her, him, it.
Exactly. Right. So some stay the same, like it and it, you and you, but he and him changes. She and her changes. I, me changes. What about they? What does they change to?
Yes,
Them.
And what about we?
We, us.
Exactly. And I'll put all those in the chat box. Are you guys all in the Verbling chat box today? Is anyone using the Google chat box?
No.
All right, then I'm just going to stick all these things in the Verbling chat box so that we can all look at them and I don't have to copy paste it again. All right, so Do you guys have any sentences ready? I'm going to ask everyone to make these simple sentences, all 5 of them, but they should be pretty easy. How about Wilmer? Give us an example of number 1, the simplest type.
The simplest, I eat.
Okay, perfect. And Wilmer, give us an example of number 5 as well.
Number 5.
Uh-huh.
Subject, verb, object, subject, I eat apple, and I eat apple. I need that add second object. I eat apple. I don't know the complement. How can I say I eat apple?
I'll give you a hint. It's necessary to use a conjunction for this sentence.
Conjunction?
Yeah, a conjunction.
No, teacher.
So conjunctions, like we went over in the very beginning, examples we had were and, but, or, however.
Okay. I eat apple and banana.
Yeah, excellent. There, now we have 2 objects. Thank you, Wilmer. Maria,
okay.
Can you give us an example of number 2?
Number 2.
Uh-huh.
He sees the new book.
Mm-hmm. He sees the new book. And can you give us an example of number 4?
Number 4. He was running. No?
Okay. He was running works pretty well because we've got 2 verbs in a row there. Another way you could do it is use a conjunction as well and use it in the present, but the way you did it is nice. Thank you very much, Maria. And Fernando, it's your turn. Can you give us an example of number 4 also?
I'm going to play football.
Yeah, I'm going to play football. Great. So that would be an example of number 4 with an object as well. Good job. And can you do number 3 for us, Fernando? Subject, subject, verb, object.
Subject, verb, my sister and me was to buy a car.
Mm-hmm. Okay. My sister and I, right?
And I. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Great. And you will hear native English speakers say, my sister and me, even though it's not necessarily correct. People do say that. So considering the company, you could say my sister and me if it were casual company, but you might want to say my sister and I if you were at an interview or something. But both are acceptable. All right. So there's one more category that no one has mentioned yet. I put it in our list of parts of speech, and it's interjections. Does anyone remember what an interjection is? An interjection is a kind of exclamation. So usually it starts a sentence, and it's something like, wow, or ouch. Right? So you might say, wow, you did a great job. So that wow is an interjection, kind of just a...
Teacher, excuse me, introduction?
Interjection, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Can you guys think of any other examples of interjections?
Jump.
What?
Jump.
Jump?
Yeah.
All right, could be if you're like screaming at someone, jump.
Or
Ow. Ow.
Yeah, ow, exactly.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm. Great. Those are some good examples. And I'll give you guys a link if you want to look up more about interjections and some examples of them. I'll put a link in the chat box for you guys. And you guys can check this out when you have time. They're kind of a fun part of speech, I think. All right, so there's a link to some more information on interjections. But let's keep it rolling. We're we're going to go on, and now we have a sentence scramble. So we have a couple examples of sentences where you have to put them in order, and then we'll talk a little bit about their meaning. So the first one is just an example, really. We have the verb make, and it says V for verb. We've got an adjective, perfect, and we've got a noun, practice. And it gives, this one is just an example, so the hint is subject, verb, adjective. So what is this sentence? What's the correct version of this sentence?
Practice makes perfect.
Exactly. Practice makes perfect. So we're using a noun as our subject, a verb, obviously, and then an adjective. Practice makes perfect. And what does that mean, Maria, if practice makes perfect? What kind of advice is that?
That is, was 100% correct.
Exactly. All right. Let's do number 2. Wilmer, do you think you can put number 2 in the correct order?
Okay. Love is blind.
Yeah, love is blind.
Blind.
Excellent. And what does that mean?
It's so difficult. Sorry for this.
Yeah, it can be. There's lots of meaning here, right? It's not so simple as it looks.
Yeah. I don't know. When you trust, when you are trust in a other person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you have a lot of trust
Mm-hmm.
in the other person.
Yeah, love requires lots of trust, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, Fernando.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean?
It's a popular sentence for mean curiosity is a dangerous feel in people.
Yeah, it can be a dangerous feeling or a dangerous quality in people. Totally. All right, number 4, Maria.
News travels fast and bad. I'm not sure.
So you're close, you just have to reorganize it a little bit.
News travels.
Uh-huh. So I'll give you a hint. One of these adjectives has to be near the noun.
Yeah. News travels. Is it news travel bad fast?
Not quite. So that's a good order, but we can't have 2 adjectives together like that unless there's a noun close to them to modify. So like if we had another noun, then it would be a little easier because you could put both there. But since we don't, you've got to move one to a new location. You have to move one of those adjectives near the word news. Does anyone else have an idea how we can reorganize that sentence?
Maybe bad news travels fast.
There we go. Excellent. Bad news travels fast. So bad describes news, and then fast kind of describes the way that it travels. So that one, even though it is an adjective, could also be an adverb. So you could say quickly instead. But the common phrase, the common expression is bad news travels fast. So Maria, what do you think they mean when they say bad news travels fast?
That it is possible you will have an accident if you go very fast.
Okay, that is an expression, but this has kind of a unique meaning as well, because it kind of means, you know how something bad happens and then everyone talks about it? So like, if you break your leg, everyone's like, oh my gosh, did you hear? She broke her leg. But if something good happens, people don't talk as much about it. So like on the news, we always see the negative things and not much of the positive. So it says bad news travels fast because people gossip. People like to gossip.
Yeah, my mother always say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's right. She's totally right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do number 5. Wilmer, can you put that one in order? Now we've taken away the parts of speech, so you're going to be a little more responsible here to put this sentence in order and then consider the parts of speech to make sure it makes sense. It's a little tougher.
Okay. The bird gets the word early.
All right, that's a possible way to say the sentence. The bird gets the worm early. But there's a common expression that we use with these. So the way you put it together is good. But there's a common expression that's a little different. Does anyone know the common expression that we say?
I don't know this expression.
All right, so then I'll give you a hint. The first 2 words in the common expression is the early.
The early.
Uh-huh. What do you think comes next?
The early gets the worm. The worm.
Okay, yeah, close, but we didn't put the word bird in there. And so let's talk this through a little. The early means we have an article and then an adjective, and the next word needs to be a noun because adjectives come before nouns.
Mm-hmm.
The early.
So if we take out these, what do we have left? What are our noun options? Which of these words are nouns?
Nope.
Anybody know which of these words are nouns? These 2.
Yeah.
So these 2 are our nouns. And I'll give you one more here. We get the early bird.
Gets.
Gets
the worm.
Get the word.
Exactly. So the way we originally had it was totally a fine sentence, but this is the common expression that I was going for when I wrote that little word scramble. So Wilmer, what do you think it means when the early bird gets the worm?
The early bird gets the worm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, when you are faster in
Uh-huh.
your routine, I think.
Yeah, so if you're fast, if you're the earliest bird, then you get a reward, right? It's a good thing to be on time, to be doing your business early. Exactly. All right, we just have one more, and it's for Fernando. And again, this is tricky because it does not give us the parts of speech here. It's up to you to decide how to make the sentence, Fernando.
There is no place like home.
Exactly. There's no place like home. And what does that mean?
The home is the better place to live.
Yep.
Because you have your mother and father, partners, etc.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You enjoy with brothers, playing, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great advice. All right. Do you guys have any questions or comments on these sentence scrambles that are all like proverbs and sayings in English? Awesome. Then we're going to go on to talk a little bit about adverbs and how we use them in sentences. So adverbs are used to describe actions, meaning that adjectives, they describe nouns. You're always going to see an adjective right before a noun. But adverbs are a little trickier because they don't describe nouns, they describe verbs, and sometimes they describe adjectives. But they don't always come in the same place. So we're going to look at a simple example of one kind of adverbs. It's more complex than this, but we'll start here for today. So they may come before or after a verb, but not between a verb and its object. So we're going to practice this with some adverbs of frequency, and we have a short list here. Always, frequently, usually, often, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, rarely, and never. Do you guys have any questions on the definitions of those words?
Yeah, what is mean seldom?
So, seldom is somewhere between occasionally and rarely. It's a little more frequent than rarely, but a little less frequent than occasionally. So it's something like every once in a while. It's another word for every once. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right. We have some examples below, and let's have Fernando read these examples for us.
Okay. I always come to work on time. There are seldom home when we call. He is usually eating breakfast at this time. She's never been to mine. Do you come here often? Yes, I am here occasionally. What do you usually do here? Sometimes I just sit and ponder the meaning of life.
Excellent. Okay. So now we're going to practice writing some sentences, and I'm going to ask everyone to write 3 sentences, 1 a positive sentence, 1 a negative sentence, and 1 a question, using 3 different adverbs of frequency. And if you want to use an adverb of frequency that's not on the list here, you're welcome to choose another one that we haven't talked about yet. I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes to write your 3 sentences using adverbs of frequency, and you can put them in the chat box when you're ready. If you guys have any questions while you're writing, I will be here. You can just type it in the chat box or let me know verbally. All right, guys, try to finish up your sentences. You can have another 30 seconds. And when you're ready, put them in the chat box. So try to get those in soon. All right, we've got 1 sentence ready. I usually drink tea in the afternoon. I never go to the pool in the winter. I always study English online. Great. Those are awesome sentences. She's been putting the adverb of frequency between the subject and the verb. And that looks great. The only thing I haven't seen from Jacqueline is a question. So how would you reorganize one of those sentences if you turned it into a question? And your time is up. I still don't see any sentences from you guys in the chat box, so maybe you guys can give them to me verbally. Let's start with Fernando. Can you give me 3 sentences?
Okay.
Positive, a negative, and a question?
I have a question for a sentence for adverbs. Yes, I have.
Exactly. So we need 3 sentence types.
Okay. I rarely drink beers.
Okay, good one. I rarely drink beers.
My older brother has never been in my house.
Excellent.
And last one, she always likes buy shoes.
Okay, she always likes to buy shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about your question? You need a question. Like, for instance, does she always like to buy shoes? Does that make sense?
Does she always like buy shoes?
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much. I see Wilmer's sentences in the chat box. I frequently go to the cinema at Saturday at night. Great sentence, but we need the preposition on for Saturday. Other than that, it's perfect. The adverb is a great position. The next one, how often do you go to the restaurant? Excellent. And I never pay for the music. I always download it from the internet. Awesome. Great sentences. Just add that article in there.
Okay, thank you.
And we've got one more. Do you often take classes online? Perfect. Okay. Maria, you're the last one. Can you give us your sentences?
It's possible to do with do and how often, because I don't know, I think that it's better how often do you take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the same as what Wilmer put for his second sentence, and it works really well. So how often do you take what? Finish the sentence.
How often do you take classes online?
All right. Now give us a positive sentence and a negative sentence.
Negative. I never pay for. I never go to the pool in the winter.
Okay. And a positive sentence.
My name is Maria Jacqueline, and in my country people call me Jackie all the time. In the United States, people say Maria.
Oh, I see. So your name, you're Jacqueline, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I thought that was just a random person participating in the chat box.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So let's go on. You guys have any questions about adverbs before we move on?
No, teacher.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is write sentences. I want each of you to write a sentence. You can do it in your head, though, if you want. And then another student is going to have to categorize the words. So, for instance, if I said something like, I never drink from a mug, if that were my sentence, you'd have to say noun or pronoun, then adverb, verb, preposition, article, noun. So you're going to categorize all the words in a sentence. So never is an adverb, drink is a verb, from is a preposition, a is an article, mug is a noun. So you're going to have to categorize all of them. And when you're making your sentence, your objective is to come up with words that are difficult to categorize, or you're not sure if the other student will know the categorization. So you're trying to come up with a tricky sentence. And I'll give you guys a couple seconds to do that, and then someone else is going to categorize your sentence. Wilmer, what's the sentence you're going to give? Maria's going to categorize your sentence, Wilmer. So what's your sentence?
I need to. Can I use the last sentence?
Well, not the one that I just told you, but you can use one of the sentences that you said earlier if you want. If you want to use something like, I frequently go to the cinema on Saturday at night or something?
Yep.
All right. Then, Maria, can you categorize that sentence?
Yes. I pronoun, frequently, adverb, go, verb, two prepositions from the verb, the article, is noun, that is a preposition, Saturday is a noun, at preposition, noun.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Maria. Now, Maria, will you give a sentence to Fernando?
Okay. The first sentence.
So,
I usually drink tea in the afternoon.
All right, Fernando, go ahead and categorize all those words.
Can you repeat, please?
I usually drink tea in the afternoon.
And it's also her first sentence from Jacqueline in the chat box.
Yeah.
And I'll paste it again. So it's the last sentence that I just put in.
Okay. I, subject, usually is adverbs. Drink verb. She, noun. In preposition. The article. Article. Afternoon preposition. No. Adverb.
Not quite.
Afternoon adverb.
Nope.
No.
So morning, night, afternoon, these are all what?
Preposition.
Nope. So prepositions in. Afternoon, does anyone know?
It's an object, is a noun.
Yeah. Noun, an afternoon.
Noun?
The afternoon. So usually we use articles before a noun. The cat, the dog, the afternoon.
Okay.
Even though it kind of describes time, which makes you think, oh, maybe that's an adverb, it is in fact a noun. All right. So now, Fernando, you're going to give a sentence for Wilmer to decode.
Wilmer.
Yep.
Wilmer. My older brother has never been in my house.
Ooh, good one. This one's interesting.
My older brother has never been in my house.
My is subject? No.
Not quite. I really like this sentence. So what is my? Does anyone know?
Pronoun?
Kind of. What kind of pronoun? It's a very specific kind of pronoun. So before we talked about pronouns, we said subject pronouns like I. Then we've got object pronouns like me. And this one is?
Possessive.
Yeah, exactly. Possessive pronoun. Great.
My is possessive pronoun. Older is a noun.
Not quite.
So describe for that?
So it's describing the word brother.
Sure.
What part of speech describes?
Never been in my house.
So what part of speech is the word older?
Brother. I don't know. My older brother has never been in my house. My pronoun older is adjective.
Yeah, exactly. A comparative adjective. Great. What about brother?
Brother is a noun. Has adverb noun. Is a possessive too?
Nope, not quite.
No, has
So has is sort of part of the phrase has been, right?
never been.
Uh-huh.
This is a always is a verb.
Yeah, exactly. It's a verb.
Yeah, this has never is perfect continuous, present
Mm-hmm.
perfect continuous. Yeah. In is a preposition.
Mm-hmm.
I is a subject. No, sorry. It's the same. Pronoun,
Mm-hmm.
possessive pronoun.
Mm-hmm.
Is a noun.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's
That
correct.
was an awesome sentence. Wilmer, you did a great job organizing the sentence, and that was a very nice sentence for us to use. All right. Now that we've talked in detail about a lot of the parts of speech, let's go a little more in depth with verbs, because especially like we saw in the last sentence, we have things like has been, and technically those are both verbs, but they're not exactly the same as any other tense, right? So let's talk about all the tenses in English. I'm going to ask each of you to give me one tense when I call on you. So Maria, what's a tense in English?
I don't know.
Huh?
What what are the tense in English?
The tenses, exactly. So you have a verb, and you can put it in something like the simple present.
Oh,
One tense. What's another tense?
um, you you speak.
Uh-huh. Great. But what's another tense in English? Aside from
Um,
simple present, what are some other examples of tenses?
um, there are um, there are there are flowers on the garden. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I
So what we're looking for here is categories like simple present, simple past, simple future.
uh, okay. The other is with the auxiliary verb. Is possible.
Mm-hmm. Auxiliary verbs are definitely important in a lot of verb tenses.
For example, I don't speak English.
All right, good.
Um,
Fernando, can you give us a couple more examples of verb tenses?
I take a verbing class with Michaela.
Uh-huh, great. Wilmer, can you think of any other verb tenses?
Simple present.
Uh-huh, what
Uh,
else?
I'm there. I learn. I eat. Um, I learn up. What is present continuous? I'm learning English.
Yeah, continuous is another good example. So let's take a look on the next page. The next page gives us an example of every tense in English. So if you can just master all these, then you'll be perfect, right? It starts with the simple present, because that's a good place to start. Then we get present continuous, present perfect simple, present perfect continuous. So that's 4 tenses of the present. Then it moves on to our tenses of the past, which are simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the future. We get future continuous, future perfect continuous. And at the end, although these are not really tenses, they are sort of a combination of tenses that create something like the simple conditional, a continuous conditional, a perfect conditional, or a present perfect, perfect continuous conditional. So there are lots of things we can do with conditionals and they're a little more advanced, and they use all of the other tenses we talked about, because technically there's really only 12 tenses in English. We've got for present, for past, and for future. And then the conditionals, we just use those tenses in new ways to kind of create new meaning. All right, so you'll notice that on this chart there are blanks in the example column, right? So we have the verb, like I play, the tense, simple present, and the use, regular activities or routine, and now we have to come up with some examples. Now, we don't really have enough time to do this chart, but let's at least do 3. So give me a, how about, Wilmer, give me a simple present sentence.
A simple present sentence. I eat.
Yeah, perfect. Simple, but good. Maria, can you give us a continuous sentence, a present continuous?
I am taking my English class now.
Awesome. And Fernando, can you give us a present perfect sentence? This is a little tougher.
I have seen movies.
Great. Awesome job, guys. Unfortunately, it is the end of class, but you guys should come up with an example for each one of those tenses. It's definitely a good way to practice. Do you guys have any comments or questions before we finish up today?
No.
No.
Oh, it's great.
All right. Then I look forward to seeing you guys again. Bye.
Bye.
Michaela, thank you very much. Wilmer, see you later, alligator.
See you, my brother.
Hi students, welcome to another class on programming. I'm with teacher Wesley, and in this hour I have a beginner's class prepared. I listed it as upper beginner, and so I'd like to keep it that way for beginner students. We are going to do sentence completion, and this is a great way for you guys to learn sentence structure and improve your vocabulary. So if you are a beginner student, guys, if you're intermediate, you'll find this probably too easy. So just to let you know. All right. Hi, Michael. How you doing? Thank you. That's good. Nice to see you again, Michael. Thank you. So, how was your day yesterday? Yeah. Okay, that's good. Why was it a good day? Was there something special that happened? Nothing special. I wanted to do more with some yeah. That was fun here. Oh, yeah, that's always nice. Yes. Good for you. That's great. I'm happy for you. Yeah. So, where's everybody else today, Michael? I don't know. They are late. They're all late. They're on the Dominican Cup. In the Dominican Republic, everybody arrived 30 minutes late. No, I'll see. They didn't do that. They're on the continent. Alright, here's a couple more students. Fernando, hi. Hi, teacher. How are you? Hey, Fernando. Good, thanks. How are you? Fine, thanks. I late for taking your class again. Yeah, you're late again. There must be some sort of punishment. What kind of punishment do we impose? Sorry, can you repeat? I said we have to think of some kind of punishment for you. What sort of punishment? What is punishment? Punishment. Like something bad has to happen to you for coming late. For coming late? Yeah. And so when you break a rule, then you have to be punished. No, I don't understand. So therefore, explain the word punish. Yes. Punish. Okay. When you start with wrong, receive a bad punishment. Yeah, what else can we say, right? It's like some sort of penalty. It's a penalty for doing something bad. Ah, I understand. Yeah, I understood. Okay, so what should be your punishment for being late to class? I don't know. Do you think that you should get a punishment? No. You don't?